Good evening. Okay, it's a social race this evening. Just reached the end of quali. Very, very busy out on track. They've decided to leave everybody on one server tonight, so there's like 35 cars out there. So a bit too busy on the qualifying circuit. We're currently P30. I imagine we'll slip back a little bit further. This is all tiers tonight. Everybody's on one server. So we got, example, Cryptic here, who's currently in P3. He's a tier 1 alien driver, and I'm a lowly tier 5 driver. So I think we're in for some an interesting evening. So looking up above me, Voodoo's got about just under a second ahead of me. I think Dommy's in our tier as well. Cotty is doing very well. Yeah, I think Cotty's in our tier, and he's done an astonishing time of like 2:11. I think I might have done in practice, but I've not done it like in anger when it counts. So I'm hoping it'll be a little bit quieter on track tomorrow night when we do quali. Morphy's behind me, Nins, and Carrie. So this is like all tier 5 here. With Voodoo, I think Voodoo is pretty good anyway. I think he just hangs around in our tier to keep us company. I think Dommy's in our tier. And Cotty, who's just surged away the last couple of races. I don't know what he's been up to. Practicing a lot, clearly. Don't recognise any of the other names as being in our tier. So this will be our race. And if it's any comfort to me, I appear to be the fastest out of everybody else in our tier. So fingers crossed for that one. We're just waiting for the server to advance now. Everybody's on the last bit of quali. 50 seconds to go. And I'm not sure if I'll get to do the practice race tomorrow evening, so this might be it for me. Going to uni tomorrow, so I've got a ton of work to do and a ton of uni work to do. But my brain is needed a rest after today, so I thought this would be a good way of sort of getting out of things and having a bit of a mental break. We're just doing a briefing now on Discord. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult race. The level 1 aliens, the guys who are qualifying up here with 2:08, that's probably on average nearly 10 seconds a lap faster than I'm going to get. So that's a big concern on the race. Really tanked up, 100 litres of fuel. There is no fuel refueling on this race. Just doing a bit of a briefing on the start process. I don't know if you've seen last week's race, but it was carnage at the start. We're just waiting to advance the server. Still got to eat tonight, so let's hope we press on soon. You know, there are blue flags on this race, and that's probably going to be the biggest challenge, is trying to stay out of the way. So this is not going to be a competitive race for me. This is going to be an exploration of how I can keep consistent in the weather, how the track might clear in race conditions, practice my pit stop. And see if I can avoid having to ease into the race. At the moment, I'll keep losing places at the start, quite a lot of places, before I really get going. Really got to press on. So I've just finished the briefing on Discord. So we're just waiting for the button to be pressed. There we go. Triple check my setup. Sounds good. Traction control and throttle cut are good. 100 litres of fuel on board, pit stop set. So we're all good to go. We're just waiting for the Vista countdown. This catches me out quite a few times. This will count down to, and the button will be enabled, and then I can actually sort of start the race. So we are P32. Morphy's right behind me, and then Nins will be right behind me. Morphy will be to my right. Quick sip of tea. So we have an open pit window on this race, so that might well be strategic. If the track starts to clear and the rain goes and there's not so much water, my tyres will start to overheat. So I've got to make a judgment call there that if that happens, I can alter the tyre pressure settings on the fly and then pit. Okay, we're enabled. Rain light on, headlights on. Don't think you need the endurance lights on in this weather, just need your headlights up. Let's hope everybody behaves themselves behind me. Okay, we're using the widget for the start, which means we'll be really close when we get going, and that led to a lot of chaos last week. My intention is just to try and stay behind the car in front and just try and keep it clean for the first couple of corners. Cars are starting to pull away. Okay. Apparently the art here is to stay in the green zone, so you don't get a penalty. Still ahead. Where it should be. There we are, we're in it. And you're getting a hint of what the most entertaining thing is going to be in this race. Just like Monza when it was raining, is being able to see ahead of us, especially at the start. We had a lot of spray in the air. Morphy tucked in behind me like he should be. It's a little bit scary using the old widget because I'm trying to stay in my green bit and then Morphy's closing right up on me. I'm sure he's trying to stay in his green bit as well. The tyres look good for pressure anyway. I was worried about weaving, about ending up spinning and looking like a bit of a muppet. Pressure's a little bit low, temps look good. There's a long way around this track when you're waiting to do the Start procedure.
60 minutes. Okay, Stevie, get ready.
Somehow we've ended up miles behind where we need to be. So I'm going full throttle to try and get back into. I mean, it's not like we were. There we go. Still slightly behind. Okay, I think I'm in the right place.
Go, go, go. Car right. Clear right.
And rammed right at the backside.
Clear all round. Car left. Clear left.
Well, we can only assume that was Nins there. I was still only an inch or so behind the car in front, so we ended up playing last now. That's a good start.
White flag. Start's okay. Now find your groove. Car left. Hold your line. Still there. Clear left. On your left. Hold your line. Still there. Clear left.
Okay, we're rammed and at the moment. I don't know how long that'll last. We've got another big stopping area here.
On right. Clear right.
Aston Martin was ambitious, but made it stick. I'm regularly spinning badly here. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Car right. Clear right.
Missed the braking point there in the spray and very nearly overshot that corner, but we got through.
Yellow flag. Keep your wits about you, mate. White flag.
I think this first lap is definitely just about getting round at the moment. Everybody's really bunched up still, so it's not like we're out of contention. A few people spinning off to the left and right. Go. Shan cutting across. Possibly not really aware I'm there. Well, we made it around lap one with just one punt up the backside.
You're leading.
So somehow we're in P31 out of 38. I don't know what's happening around us. I don't feel we're doing particularly well. I think most of that group just in front of us is my tier. But it's an hour-long race, not a one-lap race. So I need to focus now on the fact that I seem to be dropping back a little bit. It's only 0.3 of a second, apparently. No, just about a second. Oh, no, it's changed everything. It's the back of van. Spray clears, I'll get a much cleaner run at.
Nice catching. The gap's now 1.1 seconds. Yellow flag.
Mins is off.
White flag, mate.
I hope he rejoins safely. Oh, I've overshot that badly.
On your right. Clear right.
Oh, it's Cryptic. Happy birthday, Cryptic.
Come on, Stevie.
He's having a bad race. Cryptic's a tier 1 driver. Cotty was way ambitious there. Thank God he didn't collect me on the way through. There's a lot of drivers behind, and a lot of spins, and a lot of collisions. I don't know what's going on. I think with a lot of higher tier drivers, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare if they've all spun and had issues, because they'll be much, much faster coming through and possibly a bit annoyed at having been spun out. I'm pushing hard.
Yellow flag, caution.
It's Morphy there on the left, having had a spin, possibly a tap. Still in P31, so we're not really moving anywhere. There seems to be lots of just cars moving around us, coming past us. Me going past them, and then they coming back around. I think really the hope is to try and just keep it clean and keep out of trouble. It's going to be difficult.
Car right. Clear right.
Not sure why there were blue flags being waved there. These are for position. Yes, because Cotty's a lap down apparently.
He's still there. Right side's clear.
So the blue flags are... Jesus, Porsche nearly rocketed right up the side of me then and could quite easily have hit me. That was for position with Hill, but very much trusting in me staying out of the way. I don't know Pill's name, so he's definitely a higher tier driver. Possibly a tier 1 or tier 2, so be very quick.
The gap in front is increasing. It's now 1.8 seconds. The lead is just under 208.78.
So, time to really try and focus in. I've got a very heavy fuel load, of course, but currently, computer's predicting I'll do a 220 for this lap. It's really slow, but that's about normal, I think. Especially with all the chaos going on around me. Just worried about, a little bit worried about Cotty when he came past us a little earlier. He was really through his car at full tilt. He was never going to make the corner. So if he gets, I don't want him to get involved in being taken out if I can avoid it. Okay, did a 219 in the end.
Just hit each and every apex.
It's not too bad. Oh, another big spinner in front.
Clear left.
Cotty's off the track and rejoining. So now we're a lot closer. Morphy's 3 seconds behind us. And we've got Pill just in front of Pill his nins. He gave his little love tap at the start.
The gap behind has now decreased to 2.4.
And Morphy's closing in apparently. Yeah, Morphy's getting closer apparently. It's 2.5 seconds now. But thankfully,
Just done a 208.28.
prediction for time this lap. It's more in tune with what I'm expecting. It's predicting a 216.
Yellow flag.
Hands off to the side. That'll be another place. I think I'm hoping to see below 215s when I get going. So to have a 216 this early on, still with 83 litres of fuel on board, is good. And half the trick, I think, in this weather is just to not go too crazy. It's when you have a spin or an off, that's when you really lose a lot of time in a lot of places. It's a P29 at the moment. And it looks like we're going a bit quicker again this lap if we keep it up.
There's a white flag.
Oh, a lot faster this lap so far. Again, nice and tidy now. We're getting a bit more space, so there's not so much spray in our faces. And this lap so far is a second quicker. Opening that gap back up to Morphy behind, 2.7, or at least we're holding in. I find this one of the more difficult corners on the track. Getting stopped for that first turn is very hard. Lost quite a bit of time there. Now it's less than a second improvement, 0.9. And I've also had a lot of trouble completely spinning here, turning in, losing the rear end and just completely rotating out. So I'm a little bit cautious.
White flag.
Conti spins right in front of me.
Yellow flag. You wait to
Luckily avoiding. But Morphy's now within a second with all those distractions.
The guy behind's reeling you in. The gap's now 1.0 seconds.
Crew chief just confirms what I've just noticed.
You're in the lead.
Please ignore crew chief. I'm not in the lead. It's crew chief's really useful, but the developers did an update and announced that they're going to stop trying to work on getting it to work with ACC. Because of they encounter a lot of issues getting the right messages from the software, and they described it as buggy. I don't know whether maybe Kunos may be doing that deliberately to try and keep people using their own internal crew chief announcements. But I like crew chief. Gives me lots of little motivational speeches. It seems a bit more verbose than the inbuilt game. Be careful not to overdrive the car now, just because Morph is behind me and I'm trying to keep him at bay. Because that was a bad corner. I was just waiting for the car to grip.
Car left. Clear left.
Morphy was had a go, but was too ambitious.
Right side's clear.
Outbraked himself. And it's very tempting when you see that coming to try and do the same and then end up both going off. Anne's closing up as well now. This in a way is a good test of what we're hoping to see tomorrow night. We're able to race against each other without hitting each other. But Anne's within 0.6 of a second. Very close. Just try and trail break into this corner. Hold the inside line. Try and make Anne go on the outside. Took that corner reasonably well. A little bit of a gap opened up. 0.7 now. Back to Anne. To try and focus. Next couple of corners. Try and get a little bit of a gap. Try and use the agility of the Porsche, which is what I've picked up from this season. Is this car's very agile, very good in the corners, but does tend to lose out to some of the other cars on the straights. Yeah, and still just 0.7 seconds behind.
The leader has just done a 2:08.05.
The Tier 1 aliens are doing 2 minutes 8. Oh, that was terrible. And I'm doing 2:16 as my best lap. A little bit,
Yellow flag, watch out.
a little bit hesitant there on that corner.
There's a white flag.
Yellow flag and the white flag, so somebody's
8.7 seconds.
had a spin. Now we got a
Thompson is leading
the
the
car
race.
that might have had the spin and the yellow flag and the white flag was a car that's about to be lapped. It's a lap behind. I think there's a bit of a distance now to the next car up.
Yellow flag, caution.
Whoa. Somebody in the middle of a straight.
In this session, clear right. White flag, mate.
That was a bit worrying. Came around the corner onto main pit straight and there's a car just parked right in the middle of the track. I think it was possibly Niller again. Suddenly I can't see anybody behind me. I'll get through these corners, I'll have a look at the gaps. Yeah, 1.4 seconds now to Anne. That's double the gap we used to have, so I'm not sure what's happened behind us. Pill, who's clearly from a tier above, is now 11 seconds away, but Nins is also 11 seconds away, so I need to pull my finger out. Nins is in my tier, and I need to really competing against him. And Anne's closed right back up again, so I'm not sure what the problem was, but cleared it pretty quick. Maybe I'm just being too cautious and too hesitant. I'm second down on my best for this lap. There's no real reason to be that slow.
The gap behind is now 1.1.
Let's focus a little bit more on what I'm doing. That wasn't brilliant. Waiting for the car to grip before I could turn in. Anne's really pressing.
Morgan is now leading.
Ken's going to try and attack.
You're in the lead. Yellow flag, caution.
Oh, I made a mistake.
Right. Clear right, white flag. Car right. He's still there. Right side's clear.
Overcooked it there and took too much speed in, couldn't slow down. and slid onto the curb a little. Just gave Anne an opportunity. Try and force Murphy on the outside here.
Car left. Car on the left. Clear left. Clear on the left.
I succeeded in forcing Murphy on the outside, but ended up going wide myself.
Car right. Clear right. Yellow flag in sector 1.
Murphy's complaining on Discord. I think he's cursing because he thinks he saw an opportunity and he slipped away from him.
Ockrist is now in the lead.
He's focused, I think, on trying to recatch Anne. Very evenly paced, looking at how long he was behind me. Got Murphy trying to climb all over the back of me as well. And make sure it's clear the line I'm going to take going around that corner. Oh, Anne's had a big off.
Clear right.
I think like Anne just lost the rear end then all of a sudden. I was giving Murphy a good run at me because I really put off in the middle of the curve.
Left side. Clear left.
Right, we have to try and take the outside line now, which I'm not used to doing. Murphy slightly overcooked it, but we got another Porsche coming up the inside. Don't think I'm going to be able to capitalise. Murphy's going to get away with this one.
You're leading.
Sure, the rain's getting heavier, but it's getting harder. It's, as far as I know, this Porsche is from a much higher tier, so. I don't really want to fight him too much. He's taking a weird line through there, though. Not sure that was better. I knew he'd get dragged up to Murphy now. Keep overcooking this corner a little bit, waiting for the car to grip before I can throttle up.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
And lost 8 seconds with that off. Got Voodoo just up the road. That was bad. Really lost some momentum there. I could go away with it. Following Osalato there, or how it's pronounced. He's had a big slide. That's where this rain's getting heavier. Not a great series of corners there. Murphy's got 3.5 seconds now. That's really bad. 37 minutes. Everything looks good, so we have no reason to pit yet. I presumed Asalto is from a higher tier, but he's not really pulling away and making indent, so maybe I need to try and close up, put him under pressure. See if I can't force him into a mistake. Lap times are coming down. Did a 2:15 then, but my best has dropped to a 2:14, so our fuel load is decreasing. It's 2 seconds now to this guy. I need to pull my socks up. Still doing pretty good time for me. Still not far off my PB. Well, that was bad. Didn't get a good exit there, didn't get lots of speed. Showing because my lap time's slowly slipping away. It's now 0.6 off my PB, where it was on my PB previously. Need to get tighter with these. This needs to really improve. Get these times up. Don't lose the rear end though. Lost track of Anne. Not sure if he's dropped out or something. Oh, this lap's really slipped away a little bit. It's now 1.2 seconds off the best. Look at that gap.
Okay, Stevie, there's a car exiting the pits. Heads up, you're leading. The car behind's pitting now.
Well, tire pressures look good for these conditions. Just my driving's not good enough.
The gap in front has increased. It's now about 3.4.
Oh, I overcooked that. Slid.
Okay, he's pitting from P5. Looks like he'll come out just in front of you.
People are starting to pit now. Because we're nearly halfway through the race. I can start getting lots of blue flags. I might well pit myself just to get out of the way, really. Makes it easier. I'll lose less time. I'm trying to keep giving way for leading drivers. I need to work on things because Murphy's now 8.5 seconds away. Yeah, I kept him at bay for quite a long time. So why am I suddenly dropping off the pace? Murphy's running into Voodoo. Oh, is he? I think he might have pitted.
P3.
There he is. Nope, Murphy's still on the track. Still 8 seconds away. Well, I don't think there's going to be any change in the weather. Our pressures are good on our tyres, so they're set up for the same pressures we started the race with. And they might give me a little bit better grip, try and get me to close up on some of these gaps that are forming. Do we pit now is the question. When do we pit? reach your pit now. Let's try and get the maximum out of these extra tyres. Okay, the braking zone is where the barrier sticks out. Here.
Watch your speed limit in the pits. Okay, Stevie, should be coming out into clear air. We should come out into position 29. We're halfway home. Fuel is tight. You
Okay.
might need to save some fuel to get to the end. The car behind's pitting.
Oh, damn, I didn't turn off the suspension and bodywork repairs, which I don't really need. So I've lost an extra 6 seconds. Oh, I lost an extra 6 seconds, thanks to being bumped at the backside at the start and not paying attention. Still better in this race than the main. So I'm losing another 7 seconds, which will really hurt me because I was still 10 seconds down on, say, Morphe. So I had another 6 to that. That's a big gap to make up, like 15 seconds. So, the engine start.
Chris, behind is pitting.
Away we go.
Chris is now in the lead.
Yeah, Vince is in the pits. That's strange. Was he? Thought he'd be out before me. He's just setting off now. And had a spin. Too keen on that throttle, Nins.
It exit's clear. Don't cross the white line.
Okay, try and get these tyres and brakes warmed up again. Tricky. I often spin here. Well, we made it through in one piece. We're now in P25, so there's a possibility that maybe somebody in front still got a pit, but this is where we've got to come back from. Well, there's a surprise. Carrie's just up front. He's normally very quick in our tier, but he's marked blue, so he's a lap down. 10 seconds away. I don't know, maybe he's experimenting, or maybe he just had a bit of a disaster or something at the start. It's just a social race.
The gap's now 3.9.
Nin's got back out on track, 3 seconds behind. I can only presume Nin's forgot to disable repair the car as well, because he did give me a fair old whack up the backside at the start of the race. Got a yellow flag somewhere around us. So there's a looked like a huge gap there to the next place, P20, 22 seconds. It's a huge gap to make up. Well, Morphe's just 6 seconds away now.
You've got half your fuel left.
So we have something to aim for. Looks like Morphe must have just come out the pits. He's just 6 seconds away, so I know we're fairly competitive on times.
Morgan is now leading.
And then because of back markers, I can't see how far ahead the next car is from Morphe. I think it was a fair distance though. So let's push. Fuel level load is starting to come down, and that's when my times really seem to get a lot better. To watch sliding out of these corners though, I'm not getting it. Losing time with those slides. There's Morphy just there. $7 now, and that implies, oh dear, that implies I think he's pulling out a little bit. I need to push on harder. Keeping Nins pegged at about 3.2, but I think he's closed up a little bit. Just missed it.
There's a car leaving the pit lane. P3.
People leaving the pits in front of us. So we got that push from Salto. Which should be about right. So I didn't lose too much then. I think everybody must have been getting repairs in the pit stops. So it neutralised itself. I could have turned that into an advantage if I'd have turned it off. 6 seconds. Morphy's at 8 seconds, so they are still pulling away from me slightly. Nins, I think, is edging a little bit closer, so really need to push.
The guy behind's catching. The gap's now 2.6.
Oh, great. Crew chief motivated me there by telling me Nins is actually closing up fast. I think I'm closing in slowly on that Porsche in front.
The gap ahead is now 4.7.
In the words of Mika Hakkinen, it's maximum attack to get there. So we have shaved a little off our PB, gone for a 2:13, which is close to my quality time. Which I was quite pleased at, but it was only good enough to be right down the field. So we're starting out at P23 at the moment. That Porsche's pulled away again a little bit. It looks like it's yo-yoing a little bit depending on where we are in the lap. Morphy just caught up with Carrie, came over Discord to thank him for letting him through. You just see them up ahead on the hill there. Somebody closing up behind me. Nice third place. This I didn't need this.
Car left, clear left.
It's Cryptic. Happy birthday again, Cryptic. That's second and third place, I think, has gone through. Ideal world, I'll be able to use them to drag myself up. You can take this corner in fifth. I've been wondering for a while if I could manage it, and I can. It's dangerous though. Oh, that was way too wide.
The gap behind is now 4.2. Stay on it. This isn't over yet. 20 minutes remaining. You've got 20 minutes left. P5.
That wasn't good. Definitely can't take that corner in 5th. That was in 4th and the car was still refusing to come round. Took it in 5th, you'd be straight off. Not quite able to carry as much speed as the Tier 1 aliens through those corners. I'm already 4 seconds away. Got P5 closing on me as well. I'm going to have to let him through on a blue flag. It's being caught at the right place, really, to make it easier to let the leaders through. Being caught here like I was with those two, not the greatest place. Very difficult to let them by. Looks like the guy behind, Random Tramp, is also going to catch me in a bad place, I think. Nope, not brave enough to take 5th. Got the inside of me.
Car right.
Well done, nicely. That's the best way of doing it. Barely lost any time. But Nins is closing in fast now.
The leader's just done a 207.78.
I might not have lost too much time, but I still lost time. So Nins is now just barely 2 seconds, 1.7 seconds. It was 3.5. So did hurt me.
P6.
Losing time there, I think, as well. Car not gripping up. Nins is closing in closer and closer. Right behind me now. I force him to go the long way around, but I'm not sure he ever really likes that approach. So he'll make an attack on this corner. Oh, that's interesting. Expect him to go up the inside and overshoot, and I could double back on him. But instead he backed out. Try and put the car sort of in the middle of a track now. Slide it around nicely. Another car behind us. Don't know if it's somebody's gonna Ed. Nope. It's P23 behind Nins, so these are all for position. I get the feeling this is going to end in tears.
Okay, Stevie. Hold your nerve. Just keep it smooth. No mistakes. Car right. Still there. Right side's clear. On your right. Right side's clear.
Well, it kind of worked out. I sort of backed them both into each other, so they all started fighting.
Front is now 10 seconds.
Is it naughty? Or is that just the way it works? Nins has been replaced by this other guy now. I think he's from a higher tier. Hendricks. Don't recognize the name.
P5.
All I need to do is focus on trying to improve my lap times. That's the best way of dealing with it. Oh no, we got somebody coming out in front of us who's well down. Thank God for that. Kept out of the way.
Stevie, relax.
Driver behind carried a lot more speed there into those corners.
15 minutes to go.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Car left.
A big slide then at the rear. Caught it. But it has let Hendricks through. It's D. Hendricks, so he's not a musician.
On your left. Car on the left. Clear left. Car right.
I think Nins is going to get through after that mistake I made.
Hold your line. He's still there. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Still there.
I ended up going quite wide then.
Clear right.
Didn't want to risk going on the inside and
31. Expect him to
collide
come
him.
a bit behind you.
Nins has overcooked it. Keep an eye where he rejoins.
Left side. Clear left.
Whoa.
Pass. Now keep pushing.
All that fighting, I'm 3 seconds down on my PB. Hendricks has cleared off. Me and Nins were busy going side door to door. And both having problems. "13 minutes to go on this race. All the way down back in P22.
P6. Ockrist is leading the race.
Oh, I've done it again, slid on that corner. Need to stay away from them curbs. The door's wide open now for Nins after that slide. Lost all momentum. And I've got the inside line for this corner.
Left side. Clear left.
Nins was worried I was going to slide out onto her. I did slide a little bit, but not too much. We've avoided each other. And he did run into the back of me at the start, but I know compared to where the start of the season, Nins has definitely improved. I'd have been terrified, I think, in race 2 of Nins being there, because his lines were a little bit erratic, but that's not happening tonight. Oh, but my grip's going. Nins is having a hard time as well. He took a very bad line there. Very wide. Ended up very tight on this corner. Now Voodoo is behind us, which is very odd. Didn't think I was going to make that then. I braked far too late. But that might have frightened Nins a little bit when I was sliding towards him. But I do remember the briefing from Aris from Kunos, developers of this game. If you're coming up into a corner and you outbrake yourself, aim on the outside. So if I aimed on the outside of Nins, he would have turned in, and I would have just sailed along the outside, and I'd have had an accident myself, but I would not have collected him. Okay, we got P4 just 0.8 seconds behind us, so it was over generous then, really. Well, big gap now. P5's coming up as well. Come on, P5. Get closer. Ideally, this is where P5 had passed me, but I think it's too far back. Maybe they'll go on the outside of this corner coming up here.
Okay, Stevie, 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left. Car right, clear right.
No real problem because the next car behind me is Voodoo, who's actually for position, but then there's P6, who's also right behind us. I get that feeling Voodoo's going to get this position from me because I'm being too nice to the leaders coming through.
The gap in front has increased to 4.2 seconds. Right side.
That was brave of Voodoo, stick it up there.
Still there. He's still there. Hold your line. Clear right.
We got back mark, we got leaders coming through and Voodoo fighting me at the same time.
Still there. Clear right. Car right. Right side's clear. Blue flag. On your right.
That was a bit of a mare. Caught in just completely the wrong place to be caught. Voodoo's used the blue flags there to just sail past me. Oh, and then I have a massive slide and off. At this late, I'm going to be last. Well, the upside is tomorrow night we shouldn't be expecting to be lapped like that because we'll all be about the same level. But that was a disastrous set of blue flags for me.
Don't panic. You've got time to sort this out. 22nd place.
Crew chief's finally realised I'm nowhere near the front. Car seems to be doing a lot of sliding now. And then cars coming through really cost me dear. Definitely no chance of getting back at anybody now. Voodoo's a good 5 seconds up the road. Lost all momentum in where they happen to be passing me. I had to virtually stop.
The gap behind has now decreased to 2.9. Yellow flag.
Be careful there.
White flag, mate.
Oh, Ninza's having a moment. That's cost him dear. So we got another driver closing up behind us. Dummy 64, is it? I wasn't sure if he's in our tier. I think he might be. Only a few seconds behind. Getting quite leery. We've got 6 minutes of race time to go. I mean, I'm driving at the moment. I wouldn't put odds on me holding on to either of these positions from Domi or Nims.
Nice one, Stevie. This is great. Come on, keep nailing those exits. P21.
Voodoo seems to be taking some erratic lines there. Closing in on him fast. No, I think he's sauntering around. Voodoo's a lot quicker than that. Maybe he just wants to practice at being chased.
White flag.
Whilst I find that corner difficult, it's always pretty satisfying when you slide the car right into it. Like I did just then.
Keep nice and smooth. Come on, let the race
I'm
come
looking
to
at
us.
a PB
5
again
minutes
this lap.
remaining, 5 minutes left.
Fuel level's getting low. Time's moving towards the 212s according to the computer. Oh no, it slipped away a little bit. Still frightened of that corner. Dommy's closing up.
Got 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
He has to do a 212. Not sure it's going to happen though. Good entry to that corner as well. Oh. Well, the driver who was closing up on us to make his place suddenly vanished. So I don't know what's happened there.
P8.
So it's just Nins who's behind us now. So I'm not sure if people are just disconnecting, having perhaps got what they want from the session. I'm saying Voodoo is slowing down. He's now holding himself completely just in front of me. He's even able to close up. Oh, a bit of a stutter there. Blue flag's being waved. Oh, it'll be for... There's a car just in front of the turn and it's a lap down. Nins is 1.3 seconds behind. And if I keep doing that, he will close up very quickly. And indeed he does.
The gap behind has now decreased to 1.0 seconds.
Even crew chief tells me I got that one wrong. Closes right up on my exit into this complex. A lot of cars behind Nins. Other leaders, and more blue flags are coming, which will be a bit of a nightmare. Did take fifth then. I think I need to practice getting it around that corner in fifth, carrying more speed. Well, Nins has just lost it. I just saw him lose his rear end. Well, we got Cryptic again. Going round at us, he's in P8, he's 1.6 seconds behind.
Just 2 minutes left, 2 minutes to go.
And hopefully he'll catch me at a good spot to let him through. Coming on the start-finish straight, that'd be a nice spot for him to get through. Not sure it's going to be close enough though, it's 1.2 seconds. Looking at the gaps around him, smart move for Cryptic could just be to stay out of trouble, I think, and just ride it through for the result. Where it's a practice race, so he might want to
Blue flag.
press on more. Yeah, he's closing up. Oh dear, hope I'm not responsible for that.
White flag.
Okay, I'm P20. P21 is Esquibil. It's 5 seconds away, so it looks like it's going to be P20 tonight, unless barring anything shocking happens in this last lap. No, Esquibil's closing up pretty fast, 4 seconds. Sure it was 6 there.
flag. Watch out.
Yellow flag ahead.
White flag, mate.
See somebody off to the left. Big carrier's lap down. Oh, some cars off to the right. I didn't see who it was. Trying to figure out who this is. This is P8. This is the lead car.
There's a slow car up ahead.
Oh, what's going on?
There's a white flag.
Oh, Voodoo's had a spin. There's all sorts of chaos there in the last corner. What's going on?
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Car right. Clear right.
I'm wondering if he has a fuel problem or something. He's really slow. That might cost me that. Cars all over the track there. Now Escobel's just 0.7 seconds away. Oh, we're on my last lap because there were cars all over the place. He's closing in fast. I ain't gonna. Don't recognise the name. Probably a higher tier driver.
Leader has finished the race.
So holding him off is gonna be pretty hard, especially when I'm sliding around like that. Now we're gonna get people dropping out now. So I've jumped up to P18. Yes, Audi's
Car right.
going a lot quicker.
Hold your line. Clear right.
Car on the right.
On your right.
Clear on the right.
Clear right.
Well, we've got 6 leaders left at the end of a race. Whoa, that was a big one. Got too much, way too much curb there. Oh, I was just saying, we've got 6 leaders left. We've really got the pieces here for the last lap. Yeah, P8, I don't know why he's hanging around. It's giving.
Car right. Right side's clear.
I don't know what this guy's up to. He's P8. He should be away. He's like hanging around. And Lynn's caught up with me, but I think Lynn's had another slide. It's nothing very important anyway.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
And I've slid, so there you go, Nins. Present for Nins there. I was really caused though by that higher tier driver. Just, I don't know what he was doing. He came alongside me, he stopped, he was going, he wasn't going. I'm not too worried about that. So, fuel left is 4 litres.
Yellow flag. Keep your wits about you, mate. 20th place. Okay, that's the finish. Well done, mate. Car left.
So we've just over 4 litres left at the end. The pressures were good all the way through. So the fuel load. So there you go. So next up is the big race on Tuesday evening. Not sure I'll make practice race tomorrow night, but we'll have to see. Anyway, thanks for watching. We will see you on Tuesday night, hopefully.